Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another notebook challenge at Heart Breathings. I cannot believe it is May already. It feels like it was just April. It passed by in a blink. So this year is just zooming by, and there are so many fun things still coming in this year. And I'm feeling refreshed and rejuvenated and excited. But let's dive into the HB Notebook Challenge because I have a lot of fun things to show you. Okay, first things first, I have barely had a chance to really get into my craft books like I have wanted to. So I am recommitting to the month of May to finishing more of this. So I did end up a couple of times going through Gail Carriger's The Heroine's Journey, which I highly recommend this book. And I only have made it so far to she has them kind of in sections, so page 59. So I still have a lot to go, especially considering the fact that I literally have like 20 other craft books sitting on my shelf over there to read. But I just had other priorities this month, like getting the office organized, working on my writing, resting, and I didn't get to as many craft books as I intended. So I have my little notebook here. This is a Hunter Paper Co. lay flat, and I literally only wrote one page of notes. So this was from last year when I started the book, and then this was from a couple of weeks ago in April when I got another page done. And it's just not where I wanted to be, but I am enjoying this book, and I'm really going to double down. Also, I wanted to mention that so many of you said yes, yes, yes to a quarterly or whatever craft book club for writers. I'm not sure yet what that is going to look like. It could be a Zoom call. It could be something in the Discord server. It could be something that we do in the Heart Breathings writing community, or it could just be a quarterly YouTube video or a live stream might be fun. It depends kind of how many people want to participate. But what we'll do is I will put a poll coming up pretty soon on the channel and maybe in my newsletter, where I will ask which book. So I'll have a series of books, like maybe 4 books to choose from, and we'll choose which book, and then I'll let you know more of the details. But I'm currently reading Heroine's Journey. The next 2 that I kind of have up are Wired for Story by Lisa Cron, which I have heard this is amazing. I loved her Story Genius book, and she has a couple others that I already have in my list. And this one just is really cool. Writer's Guide to Using Brain Science to Hook Readers from the very first sentence. And since I am working on a standalone for the first time, I thought maybe this would have some gems for me. And then also, this was a book I didn't get to share before that I picked up since, which is Sacha Black's The Anatomy of a Bestseller, which is kind of teaching you how to deconstruct other books and then teach yourself to craft from the actual books that you've been reading. And I've heard this is really, really good, and I love Sacha. So we will talk more about Sacha coming up, but I think those are the next 2 on my list, and I would really like to get through at least all 3 of these in the month of May. So we'll see. But several of you asked from my writing vlog, what is this little thing and where did I get it? So this is just a stand. It's a metal stand. It comes in lots of different colors. I think it was about $15, but you can find them for 10 or less. And it has a little section here that goes back and forth, and then you can stand it at different heights. And basically it allows you to open up your book, and then you can be taking notes without having to hold the book open and your notepad and be writing at the same time. And this has been really helpful the couple of times that I've used it. So I will link that for anybody who's interested down below. You can actually use this. I've been using it as well for some of my planner stuff, as well as my recipes when I'm cooking. So lots of uses, and it folds up really nicely. So that is fun. And that is really the first thing in terms of my notebooks. But I also, of course, wanted to update you on this and had a few questions about it. So this is my B6 Traveler's Notebook. This is a Chic Sparrow cover. And then inside I have multiple notebooks. So the first one here is really full of stuff I don't want to share, but I have added a few pages to it in terms of my notes. This is a Tomo River paper, B6 from, I think, Penguin Paper Co. And I've been taking some decent notes in this just about, I guess, things I'm learning from other people, conversations that I've been having with people, just different things like that. And they're more private notes, so not sharing what's in it, but it has been nice. Again, there's also some private kind of things in this one that I have been using, but I only have probably 4 pages or so that are filled out. And I enjoy the black paper, but I need to decide which pens I like best with it. Right now I've been using some Jelly Roll Moonlight pens, and those are nice, but sometimes it's like it doesn't quite write, and then I have to write over the top of it, which doesn't allow for just like fast flow writing. It's really slow kind of writing. So I might replace this notebook. Even though I like the black paper, I want to be able to write on it. And in this one, I've been kind of writing some daydreams about how I want my career to look, you know, for the next 5 years, like 5 years down the road, the books I want to write, the ways I want to run my community. It's just sort of like a brainstorming notebook, and that has been nice. The next notebook in here is really not one that I've used yet. This one is a Honey Bee Shop B6 notebook, and it's really just a weekly spread with 1.5 inch columns with a split Saturday, Sunday. I was toying around with the idea of coming in here and kind of keeping track of when I'm reading books, when I like all the writer reset stuff that I'm doing. However, I haven't actually started using it yet, so we'll see if it ends up being something used or I pull it out. But the one I've been working in the most is, of course, my B6 Stalogy that has my story notes in it. And it's like, I don't want to necessarily be like, oh, just trust me, there's stuff happening in here, because but at the same time, I also have some things in here that are spoilers for the story that I don't necessarily want to share. But anyway, some people asked, how is it that I'm tracking my sprints? When we had our writer retreat, the 20th, 21st, 22nd of April, I had done a vlog where I was writing in here. This basic way of tracking I've been using for many years, and sometimes it varies, but if you want basically a printable version of something like this, if you join my newsletter list in the Heart Breathing's resource library, there are various printables for tracking your sprints, tracking your book progress, and I'm going to be providing some updated ones coming up in the Writer Reset. So look forward to that if you've liked using these sheets. But this I've just drawn out on the grid paper, and it's marking the day, and then it kind of balloons out. So you've got each sprint individually, then the total for today, the total for the entire manuscript, and then how many words I estimate I have to go. And so far you can see I have actually written some words. I actually don't have one of my days written in here because I just am not always perfect about keeping up with everything, but I have written about 7,000 words. So I have maybe 2,000 words that didn't get added onto this, but I have not been writing as much over the last week because I had realized I needed to go back and actually work on plot. So that's what I've been doing. And so there are multiple sheets in here where I have been outlining what I had so far, just writing and journaling. My husband and I ended up going to a coffee shop for a couple hours on our date night to work through some of the story questions I had. And then since it's May, I decided to go ahead and print out just a little May calendar. And I'm hoping that I can start adding my total word counts to this as well, so I can just see that momentum. But I don't expect that I'm going to be getting any words in until maybe next week. So we'll see kind of how that goes. But there are things happening in the writer world in terms of this, but I haven't just been writing in notebooks. I've also been writing in my scene cards and my plotting wall. And I know many people have asked for a dedicated video on what do I put in each thing and why do I have several different places. And I touched on that in my recent vlog, but I'm going to do a specific video about it to actually show you. But there is progress being made in this, and I have really enjoyed having this. Now, I don't always carry around the big traveler's notebook with all the notebooks in it. So sometimes I'll just take one out and we'll just go from there. But it's been really nice, and I like this size. Another notebook that I'm using this month is a bit of a come back to it kind of notebook. So if you've been around for a while, you know that it's actually almost a year since. So last May, I started this Hello Kitty Erin Condren softbound notebook because I have like 10 of these just because I love Hello Kitty and they had them in a warehouse sale and I bought a bunch of them. And I started using this as a manifesting journal. So it was like daydreams about my my life, my family, just all kinds of things. And I made it maybe a quarter of the way through, a third of the way through. And then I fell off. So I made it from about May to September, just writing in it every once in a while. And I really enjoyed this. And I found this in my drawer the other day and I was like, you know what? I really want to finish this. So one of the things when I first started the notebook challenge, I had a ton of notebooks that were just sitting around in closets and other things that I had treated as so precious. And I was scared to really write in them, so many of them, because they were more like a collection. And then I couldn't resist buying new ones. And so the notebook challenge started as a way for me to give away a bunch of notebooks. I think since we started that, I have given away something like 30 or 40 here on the channel, but I've also given away more than 50 to teachers, a woman's shelter, other kind of giveaways and things like that, like donations. And I still continue to buy notebooks and I probably will continue to. But one of my goals at the time was I want to finish notebooks, not just start them, but finish them. But I haven't actually followed through with that 100% because I ended up thinking, I don't want to force myself to finish out a notebook if I don't feel inspired for it or if it's not actually useful to me. But at the same time, I really feel like after 3 or 4 years, however many years it's been doing the notebook challenge, I should have just this big stack of notebooks that are finished. But instead, I have a ton that I've started and not completed. But I found this one to be helpful. And so here in May, I am going to make a commitment that I'm going to finish this notebook by the end of June. So May and June, I'll update you next month on how it has gone. And then by July 1st or by the July notebook challenge, hopefully I'll have a completed one and I'll be able to start a new one. But my purpose here is really gratitude, daydreaming about my life in general, and just kind of putting out there positive thoughts about the way I want my life to be. And this is always a really powerful way for me to focus in on what my priorities are. And I just love it. So I'm going to continue on with that. And hopefully someday I'll have a whole stack of these that are completed. I also have another thing that's been happening is the more I'm making space for my creative mind to work and inviting creativity back into my life, the more I am getting ideas, which is great, but it's not always ideas for my immediate story. It's ideas for future projects, future videos, just all that kind of stuff. And I don't right now, other than Notion, have a great way to capture all those ideas. And so I want to use another notebook that I don't have to pressure myself to use every day, but whenever I have ideas. Plus I have a big idea that's been forming that I won't be able to do or execute on this year, maybe next year, that I want to go ahead and be taking notes for and be planning out whenever inspiration hits. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but just like if inspiration hits, I'm going to jot down any thoughts so that I have them for later. And I've been debating which notebook to use. So this is a 3-subject notebook that has lined, and then it has a folder to separate it, graph paper, another folder, and then a pretty big dot grid with some stickers in the back. When I'm doing like big picture ideas and stuff, sometimes I like to draw things out. So I want to have a bigger notebook for this. And I don't have any need like I do with this one to be able to like carry it around. So I think this would work fine. I think this was in one of the warehouse sales at some point, and I just love this layers design. It's so pretty. But Madison Wynn here, one of our Hardies, mentioned to me that Platinum Preppy had a dragonfly fountain pen. And so I went ahead and bought that from Jet Pens, and I didn't want to just order one thing. So I grabbed a couple things that had been on my wish list. One of them being this Kokuyo Campus binder notebook. This is B5 size, so it's pretty big, and it has 26 rings, and these are like clear plastic rings. And what's cool about this notebook, sorry for all the lights, but what's cool about this notebook is you can just pull it and it opens. And I just thought this was really unique and innovative, instead of having to always like open and close it the way you normally would with like pushing down or else just pulling them apart. And you can take pages out and add them in, unlike the Erin Condren stuff. So I'm kind of leaning toward using this one because I have this little folder and a little Kiki's Delivery Service how do you say this? Shidajiki or something like that. It's like a pencil board, but it has 5 sections. So as ideas start to flow to me, I could have one section that's for this first kind of long-term idea. And then if something else comes up, I could keep track of it here and so on. And then if I wanted to take pages out and use them in a different notebook or, cut them up and put them into my writing notebook once I get to that point, it gives me a little bit more flexibility, but I think this is really cute. So I'm kind of leaning towards this one over the coil notebook. But it's pretty cute. I did add some paper to it and it's pretty easy and inexpensive, but hopefully this will be a pretty sturdy binder just to keep those bonus ideas in. So we'll see how that turns out. Another thing I did get from JetPens, which I have literally no idea how I will ever use it, but someday I will use it. This is a Kiki's Delivery Service notebook from Chronicle Books. I think this is a B5 size, and it doesn't really lay very flat, but it has some lined pages, and it does have like Kiki and the cat and, different things like that. And then every so often, kind of between sections, it does have some drawings in it. And I just thought it was too adorable not to get it. So this will go up in my notebook closet, and it'll either end up as a giveaway at some point or I'll use it in the next year or so for journaling. But I just thought it was so cute that I had to have it. So it does have a little ribbon, and it has some stuff about Studio Ghibli or Ghibli here, and it's just super cute. So another little notebook from JetPens. I'm not going to open this one up, but just to talk about it is I know I'm kind of making some commitments in the month of May, and we'll see how much time I end up, because that's always a thing, right? Of course, I want to use all my notebooks. I want to read all the books. I want to do all the things, play the games, watch the movies, but there's only so much time in a day, especially when you have 2 kids at home and you run 2 businesses. So, I know that I want to read more craft books. That's going to kind of be priority number 1 besides my writing. But I also, I want to read fiction. And as I'm reading fiction, I want to continue to fill out this story journal. So hopefully I'll update you guys in June or July with more spreads finished in this one, which is an Archer and Olive notebook. So these were planners. These were all A6 Hobonichi Techos in just the basic size. And each year, for a couple of years, I bought them and then didn't fully use them. Like you can see Evie drew in them as well, but I use them very sparingly. And I have another project that I'm working on kind of behind the scenes of some videos that I'm taking, some footage that I'm taking that I'm not yet putting into vlogs, but they're for a future purpose. And I'm finding that I need a better way to organize the footage other than just dumping it onto my Google Drive or whatever. So I want to use a notebook that's really small size and easy to carry around and doesn't have like a lot of space for me to fill up. And I was thinking I might repurpose one of these. So I will keep you updated on how that turns out, because there are still quite a few pages, and I just wanted to use it and the next notebook as a bit of a reminder that even if you have notebooks that you loved or that you had good intentions for that you didn't fully get the most use out of, you can always repurpose them. And I know sometimes it feels like if we didn't fill them all in, that it's ruined or it's wasted. And it's harder if you have like a lot of the pages throughout, but like this one, I think I stopped in February and the rest of it is just blank. And so there's no reason that I can't clip these off and then use these however I want. I can redate them. I can cover them up with washi tape or other kind of stickers. And then I still have a really nice notebook. So don't forget about the ones that you partially used if you loved them and you wanted to use them. Just let it be another source of joy for you to pick them back up. Okay, so this is one of the main notebooks I wanted to talk about, and I'm going to actually take some time to just set this up. So this is one of those notebooks that I bought thinking, oh, I've got the perfect use for it. And I really have loved using the B6 Stalogy notebooks, the A5 Stalogy. So I thought, let me try a B5 Stalogy that's bigger, because I realized it would fit in this composition notebook holder from Webster's Pages. And I wanted to use this holder because I love this size, and it's just another, it's just something pretty. And so I started to use it as a bullet journal, and I had this cover from Salty Katie Co. and put some pretty paper in here, decorated the whole thing, and I used this much of it. And I used, this much of it. So just a handful of pages. And then I didn't follow through with it. So I used it for about a month and then it didn't really serve my purposes, and I never come back to it. But because it's a 365 notebook, there are a lot of pages still left in it, and they're not dated. So there's really no reason to have to use it for an old purpose. So I just have taken some washi tape and I have kind of connected those pages together, and now I can just turn the page. I can clip them to the front so that I always just turn and open it, and it's a brand new notebook. So it's just a reminder, first of all, to, monthly reminder to use the notebooks. They're not too precious. You're not going to mess them up. And even if you do, you can always reuse them. But the point is to get some joy out of them, get some use out of them. If you love your notebooks, just make it a priority, set a habit, get something in there so you can start using them. And it really does make me joyful, and it helps me create ideas. It helps me get my ideas out on paper. It helps me de-stress. There's just so many benefits to using notebooks. But anyway, this one I'm going to reset as a new notebook. And in this one, I am mostly going to be journaling about some of my what I'm calling Project Phoenix. So I have done some of that journaling here in this first notebook, but this first notebook has been more about the conversations that I've had with people, the advice I've gotten from people, the ideas that have come from those things. This is going to be sort of a project notebook for that particular project. And I don't actually anticipate that I'll use all of these pages, but I like this nice big graph paper basically to be able to write those ideas out on, so I can journal, I can draw things out, I can plan things like social media campaigns and giveaways and launches and stuff like that. Now, some of this I am doing inside Notion with Renee, but I really want to kind of get on doing it here so I can get my ideas out on paper. And it always just helps me to do it by hand rather than in Notion or something like that. So that's the purpose of this notebook. But I want to give it a refresh because this design and everything is no longer inspiring to me. So I'm going to just speed things up. What I have done is I have basically just grabbed a bunch of papers and things like that from around that have sort of purple and green coloring to them, which is more my heart breathing or my Sarra Cannon branding. And I just grabbed a bunch of random stuff, and we're going to see how it all comes together. But I thought it'd be kind of fun to put it together for our notebook challenge. Yay, so that is all set up. I covered the little gold heart with some stickers. Those won't stay on there because they're just paper, but they're cute to cover the gold since I don't have gold inside. And here's how it turned out. I think it turned out so cute. I love the purple and teal and pink, which are my branding colors. And basically, it's just a fun little hobby to set up notebook covers and planners. I love to do it, and it makes me happy to use them. And so I will be journaling in this. I'll keep you guys updated on some of how that goes. But I've got my hands full with my notebooks this month, and I'm excited to use them. Thank you for coming back to watch these every month. It really means a lot. And if you are new to the Notebook Challenge, it's basically just a challenge to get into your notebook stash and actually use them in a way that brings you joy, that is useful to working through your ideas, coming up with the big picture, dreaming about your life, really thinking through, getting things off your chest, writing down your to-do list, whatever you want to do with them. I do have a video that I made right before I started the Notebook Challenge about like tons of ways to use your notebooks. Plus we have lots and lots of notebook videos over the past several years. So I will link all that for you down below. And every month we do a notebook giveaway. So all you have to do to enter to win is to make sure you're subscribed, like this video, and make a comment down below. And I will choose a winner next Friday. And this Notebook Challenge month, I am giving away an Archer and Olive notebook. I apologize for the lighting, but I'm recording this at night. So I've got all these circle lights here. But I haven't even opened this one, so it's still in the plastic, but you can kind of see here that it's a yellow spring summer notebook that has a little sort of like a electric scooter with some flowers on it. And it is just a white dot grid pages, 192 pages, 160 GSM. If you've never used Archer and Olive before, these notebooks are incredible. They have really thick paper. It's a hard cover. And they're just really nice. And especially if you're bullet journaling or want to do some like drawing or painting, pretty much almost nothing bleeds through. You can paint on these, you can stamp on them, lots of different things. Now I decided not to even open this to show you, just so whoever wins can get just a brand new Archer and Olive notebook. We also have a focus on a diverse read every month. And this month I'm going back to Sacha Black because she has a new sapphic romance out, and I really wanted to spotlight this. I have been dying to read it, and I finally have it on my Kindle, so I am going to hopefully read that this month. So let's talk about Sacha Black's new book. Okay, this month's diverse read is A Game of Hearts and Heists by Ruby Rowe. And Ruby Rowe is a new pen name from one of my favorite people, Sacha Black. Sacha is a queer author of lesbian fantasy, and she also writes craft books for authors, has craft courses for authors. She's generally just an amazing person. She does the Rebel Author podcast that I highly recommend you follow. So I will link my interview with Sacha down below, but let's take a look at this. First of all, this cover is incredible. I love it. And I bought this on Kindle, but I really feel like I'm probably going to want a hardcover or something like that for my shelf. But anyway, here's what the book is about. Two enemies, one goal: steal each other's hearts. Scarlet Gray, disgraced assassin, is determined to get revenge. Quinn Adams, medic turned poison for hire, is her deadliest rival. For years, they've stolen each other's clients, sabotaged each other's business, and occasionally slept together. When the Magician Queen offers an irresistible deal, Scarlet and Quinn are forced to work together. But this is not a simple job. With an impossible heist ahead, they're going to have to trust each other, and that's not easy when they both have secrets to hide. Harder still when those secrets will betray the ones they love. Now, neither woman is sure if it's a heist they want to win or a heart. Oh, it's so good. So well written. Two women, two deadly professions, and a romance that could be their downfall. This is a steamy lesbian fantasy with enemies to lovers. This is a steamy lesbian fantasy romance with enemies to lovers, a heist, found family, a secret royal, and only one bed. So this book was published in February. I haven't gotten around to reading it yet, but I just love this wording here. Neither woman is sure if it's a heist they want to win or a heart. So well done. I'm excited to read this. I believe this is the first in a series, and so definitely go pick it up. I will leave all the links below. If you want to know more about Sacha, you can follow her at Instagram, Sacha Black Author. I will put her links down below. so much good. Like her interview with Claire Taylor was incredible, but there are so many great interviews that you will find on her podcast. Ines Johnson, one of my favorite people. You guys know I've talked about her so much, but if you just look through Sasha's Instagram, you're going to see all the great people she's interviewed, as well as some great images of her new book. And here's that book, Anatomy of a Bestseller, that I just purchased as well. Ooh, I didn't even know she did one with Jenna Moreci, so I will have to go check that out. You can find her on Goodreads. And if you want to know a little bit more about Sasha, you can also find her at her website, sashablack.co.uk. So that is Sasha Black. She has some books as well. The Keeper's Victory Tray and Sirens that you might want to pick up as well. Some more fantasy books there. So definitely go check out Sasha Black or Ruby Rowe, and let's show our support to diverse authors everywhere. Okay, everyone, that is it for the May Notebook Challenge. I hope you're still enjoying these. I will definitely get you guys the details on what we're going to do for a craft or writing book club. But for now, let's just enjoy our notebooks. If you would like to tag me over on Instagram or use the hashtag hbnotebookchallenge so that I can see your beautiful notebook stacks. I would love to see pictures of the notebooks you're using, reels of the notebooks you're using, stacks of notebooks that you've finished, stacks of notebooks that you've bought but haven't used yet and you're looking for ideas. Just show me all the notebooks. I want to see them all. I will be sharing some of my notebooks as I get them in from Sterling Ink, and a couple other things that I'm going to be doing over the course of the month using that same hashtag. My Instagram is @heartbreathing. So come follow me over there, come hang out with me, and I will see you guys in my next video all about writer reset. So I'm continuing my writer reset. I'm going to continue to work on finishing this book and really sparking joy in my own life and my own creativity after, a rough couple of years. So come join me if you'd like. And if you want, let me know in your comment below what types of videos you'd like to see from me. If you want to see more planner setups in the future, just a combination of everything. More writing videos was really popular when I did a poll. So I've got some writing series and some new notebooks coming up, new workbooks that you guys can use for your writing coming up. So I'm excited for all this content. Happy May. I hope you have a lovely month, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.